It has been more than 5 years since the release of Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima's ambitious, open-world Strand-type game that featured a whole lot of walking, talking, stalking, and sneaking as you attempt to reconnect the United States of America. If you beat the game in the first couple of months since its release and then never looked back, you might be surprised to learn that Death Stranding in 2025 is actually quite more feature-packed than it was when it first came out. So, if the release of the upcoming sequel has reignited your desire to reconnect the chiral network once again, here's a guide on everything added to Death Stranding since its initial release. Technically, this isn't content that was added later since PC players had it from the beginning, but if you only played Death Stranding on console when it first came out and never touched it again, you missed out on a neat collaboration with Valve that brought the world of Half-Life to Death Stranding. You could equip Sam with Gordon Freeman's glasses, decorate his head with Valve's Valve, and there's even a headcrab hat. The rewards weren't just cosmetic either. Sam could find blueprints to fabricate a truck with the iconic Half-Life Lambda logo, and most substantially, he could even find gravity gloves that would allow him to pick up items from afar. In Death Stranding's first year, virtually all of the patches added to the game were very minor, with patch notes that didn't go into any specificity regarding what actually was changed. For example, version 1.01 added AVX judgment to CPU check at startup, stability improvements, and general bug fixes. Version 1.02 allowed you to set different key bindings on PC for getting on and off your vehicle, along with some more bug fixes. Version 1.03 added DLSS support for NVIDIA Ampere GPUs, and version 1.04 added Ultra Performance mode for DLSS 2.1, along with improved game stability. The first major update to Death Stranding came in the form of a crossover with CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077. The free update, exclusive to the PC and released back in December of 2020, added 6 brand new missions featuring characters and lore from Cyberpunk. Basically, these missions had you finding chips that you can then bring back for cool cyberpunk-inspired hacking abilities and rewards. You could gain the ability to mark destinations on your compass, short-circuit enemies and vehicles, and disable sentry towers. And you'll also be able to get V's facial pattern, a Yaiba Kusanagi red trike, Johnny Silverhand's glasses, and even Johnny's literal silver hand that would give a nice boost to your melee attack. Released on March 30th, 2022 for the PS5, the Death Stranding Director's Cut marked by far the biggest post-launch update to the game, featuring all sorts of quality of life improvements, better visuals, new vehicles, new weapons, new missions, new equipment, and for console players, all the previously PC exclusive content like the aforementioned Cyberpunk and Half-Life crossovers. To dive into the specifics of everything that the Director's Cut added, let's start with the surface level stuff. The original Death Stranding released on the PS4, so the Director's Cut was largely positioned as an upgrade for players who wanted to play the game with the upgraded power of the PlayStation 5. As such, the Director's Cut definitely looks cleaner and sharper, with some especially noticeable improvement when it comes to the water effects. On PlayStation 5, you can now switch between performance mode with upscaled 4K resolution and a steady 60 frames per second, and quality mode with native 4K resolution and a targeted 60 frames per second that actually does a surprisingly good job of hitting that target all the way through. As far as the quality of life improvements go, the Director's Cut adds replayable boss battles, a floating carrier can now be taken with you on a zipline, dramatically improving their usefulness. There's a reverse trike transporter now that lets you carry cargo with a reverse trike, and you can even use strands to tie down cargo to your transports so they don't go careening everywhere if you take a fall. New weapons and equipment were added to the Director's Cut as well, with the most notable one probably being the cargo catapult. With this bad boy, you can load up a bunch of cargo into a pod, then launch it a great distance, which is super helpful when getting your cargo over small hills or across otherwise treacherous rivers. You can also build jump ramps for sick tricks with your reverse trike or the brand new Roadster vehicle. You can make chiral bridges that only allow those with permission to cross over them. You can equip yourself with a new weapon called the Mazer Gun that shoots streams of continuous electricity that can short-circuit enemy mules and vehicles. You can also utilize a new buddy bot to help transport either yourself or your cargo, and you can even use new hand-to-hand combat techniques like a dropkick, a crossbody splash, and more. Two other big additions to Death Stranding come in the form of a firing range and a racetrack. The former is much more than just a place to test out Sam's weapons. It's also got its own set of drills that can be attempted like time trials with predetermined loadouts and enemy placements, complete with online leaderboards for you to record and compare your best times. The new racetrack also has online leaderboards and allows you to race on several different courses with the reverse trike, truck, and roadster. The director's cut didn't stop there either, content-wise. There are over 40 new standard orders and 3 new story missions available after beating the game, all of which take place in a new area called the Ruined Factory. There are new customization options, 8 new music tracks, and a handful of fun and spooky nightmare cutscenes to haunt Sam while he thinks he's safe in his private room. Finally, while this isn't content, the last few notable things to happen with Death Stranding was its release on Xbox Series consoles and compatible iPhone, iPad, and Mac devices, allowing even more people to get in on the fun. And that's just about everything that's been added to Death Stranding since launch. A lot of quality of life improvements that make getting around a little less arduous, some truly excellent new toys to play around with that add to the experience without breaking it, a bunch of new content both in the form of side activities and story missions, and a handful of touches that just in general make the game more enjoyable to play.